Nipper, the little bull pup. All night long, Nipper had slept close to his mother's side, curled up like a little round ball with his nose tucked under his tail. It wasn't a very comfortable way to sleep, but the little bull pup knew that it was the best way to keep warm. Last night the wind had howled and roared about his kennel, and although there was plenty of dry straw on the floor, and his mother and two sisters were close beside him, the little bull pup had been very cold indeed. Nipper was an English bulldog, a fat, jolly little puppy with soft brown eyes and a funny short nose and a crooked tail, and he lived in England. When you patted him, he would open his mouth wide, grin from ear to ear, and wiggle all over with happiness. But when he was angry, he would screw up his face until it was a mass of wrinkles and looked very fierce indeed. Nipper was such a good-natured puppy that he was very seldom angry. He spent most of his time playing about in the woods and fields. He was so quiet and well-behaved that even the birds were not afraid when they saw him coming. They knew that he would not hurt them. Now it was morning, and the sun was shining through the window right down on Nipper's back. He felt the delicious warmth of it going all through him and taking the numbness out of his legs and feet. He twitched one ear, wiggled his toes, and opened his eyes. Then, scrambling quickly to his feet, he hurried to the door. "Oh! Oh!" he gasped in astonishment, for he was looking out upon a world such as he had never seen before, a world of dazzling white. The brown earth and soft grass that he had scampered on in the summer had completely disappeared. Gone too were the path outside the kennel yard and the road that led to the stables. There was nothing to be seen anywhere but white. White so bright and sparkling that it made the little bull pup blink. "Mom! Mom!" he cried, running back into the kennel and dancing up and down in front of his mother. "Get up! Do get up and see what has happened!" "Oh, Nipper, you are a nuisance," said his mother, looking up at him sleepily. "Why can't you stay in bed quietly like your sisters?" "Oh, very well," said the little bull pup, tossing his head. "Don't come up. But I should think that you would like to see what has happened to the world." "What has happened to the world?" asked his mother. "It has all turned white," answered Nipper. "The earth is white. The trees are white. Everything in the whole world is white, but us." His mother got slowly to her feet and, pushing him away from her, walked slowly to the door. She said, "Quite a heavy fall." "Who had a heavy fall?" asked the little bull pup, nudging her with his nose. "The snow," answered his mother, "and there's a lot of ice too. It will be hard getting about today." "Where did it come from?" asked the little bull pup. "Who brought it here?" "Jack Frost," his mother answered absently. "I told you the other day that he would be coming around soon." "Oh," said Nipper, cocking his head on one side. "So that's what he does when he comes. Well, I don't like it." "You don't like the snow?" asked his mother. "No, I don't," answered Nipper, shaking his head. "How can I run about and play when the white stuff is on the ground? I'm going to find Jack Frost and tell him to take it away." "You can't do that," exclaimed his mother. "No one has ever seen Jack Frost. Besides, the snow is much too deep for you to be running about in it." "Well, I'm going to try anyway," said the little bull pup, stepping boldly through the door. Squish, squash, went his feet, sinking down into the soft snow. "Ouch!" he cried, picking up one foot and shaking it in the air. "It is cold. What is this made of anyway?" "Of course it is cold," said his mother, "and quite deep. I wouldn't be surprised if there were more before night." "Not if I can help it," cried Nipper. "I am sure that I can do something about it." Without waiting for his mother to answer, he jumped off the step and went plunging and floundering across the yard. When he got outside the gate, he hardly knew which way to turn. There was no path or road to guide him, and even the trees and bushes were so covered with snow that he could barely recognize them. He struggled along as fast as he could until he came to the brow of the hill. Then he knew at once where he was. In the distance he could see the woods, and right at the bottom of the hill was the old mill pond. "Now I know what I shall do," said the little bull pup to himself. "I'll go down to the pond and find my friend Mrs. Robin. She will tell me if she has seen Jack Frost about." "Just look at that!" he cried as he started down the hill. "He has covered even the pond with snow. I can't see any blue water at all." On the side of the hill, the snow wasn't so deep, but it was hard and icy. Nipper's little feet went slipping in every direction, and before he knew it, he was sliding down the hill flat on his stomach. Away he went, so fast indeed that when he reached the bottom, he shot right onto the pond. "Oh, oh!" he cried, struggling to his feet and starting back towards the shore. "I don't want to go swimming today." But he stopped in amazement, for instead of being in the water, he was standing on something very firm and solid. "Well," he exclaimed, "imagine being able to walk around in the middle of the pond and not get wet." "Hi ho, Nipper!" cried a voice from the bank. "How do you like sliding on the ice?" "So that's what it is," said the little bull pup, staring down at his feet. "I wonder where all the water has gone." Looking towards the bank, he saw a big gray squirrel sitting in a tree by the edge of the pond. "Hello, Mr. Bushytail," he called. "How are you making out? Wasn't that a dreadful thing that happened to the world last night?" "Oh, you mean the storm?" asked Mr. Bushytail. "Why, you have to expect that sort of thing this time of year. As soon as Jack Frost comes around, we are likely to have snow any time." "Have you seen snow before?" asked the little bull pup, walking carefully across the ice and climbing up the bank. "Of course I have, many times," answered Mr. Bushytail. "I remember one winter we had snow on the ground for weeks and weeks." "That must have been terrible," said Nipper. "I don't like the snow at all." "I don't like it either," said Mr. Bushytail, "but I get along all right. You see, I have a nice hole in the tree where I can keep warm and dry, and I have lots of nuts hidden away, so that I always have plenty to eat. We squirrels," he said proudly, "know how to take care of ourselves." "I know how to take care of myself too," said Nipper. "I have a warm house and plenty to eat, but I don't want to stay there all winter. I like to play outdoors with my little sisters, to roll on the grass and run in the woods and paddle in the pond. That is why I don't like the snow and ice, and I am going to find who brought them here." "Ho ho!" cried Mr. Bushytail, switching his tail and laughing loudly. "That's pretty big talk for a little pup like you." "No, it's not," answered Nipper, sticking out his lower jaw and wrinkling up his face. "I am usually good-natured, and I don't like to fight, but no one is going to bully me." "Good-natured!" cried Mr. Bushytail, laughing harder than ever. "When you wrinkle your little face like that, it is hard to believe." The little bull pup looked up at Mr. Bushytail and grinned from ear to ear. But that's only my face, he said. Inside, I am really very friendly. Well, perhaps you are, said Mr. Bushytail, knocking a piece of snow off his ear with his hind foot. Perhaps you are. I must be going now, said Nipper. You see, I'm looking for Jack Frost, and I may have a long way to go. Jack Frost! Exclaimed Mr. Bushytail. You don't mean to say that you expect to find Jack Frost? And he fairly doubled up with laughter. That's what I said, answered the little bull pup, who was getting tired of being laughed at. I am going to find Jack Frost and make him take the snow away. Oh, dear, dear, gasped Mr. Bushytail, wiping the tears from his eyes. How could a little pup like you ever find Jack Frost? Have you ever seen him? Asked Nipper anxiously. No, I haven't, answered Mr. Bushytail, and I don't want to. If you knew what I know about him, you wouldn't want to either. What do you know about him? Asked the little bull pup, standing on 3 legs and shivering with the cold. Never mind, said Mr. Bushytail, scampering up to the top of the tree. I don't care to talk about it, but if you are wise, you will go home now and forget about Jack Frost. Oh, I am not afraid, answered the little bull pup, squaring his wide shoulders and scowling in his most frightening manner. With a face like mine, you don't have to be afraid. Very well, said Mr. Bushytail crossly, but don't say I didn't warn you. No, I won't, said the little bull pup, starting off again. If I can only find my friend, Mrs. Robin, he said to himself, as he struggled through the big drifts, I'm sure that she will tell me where to find Jack Frost. But the little bull pup didn't feel at all sure that he would ever find Mrs. Robin or any of his friends again. It was so strange and lonely in this bare white place that was so unlike the friendly green woods where he had played all summer. He missed the cheerful voices of the birds in the trees and the hoarse croaking of the frogs in the pond. Suddenly, he saw a small bird hopping about in a clump of tall, dry grass. It was a gray bird, short and fat, with a black hood on its head. "Tee-tee-tee!" it sang softly as it picked eagerly at the dried seed on the ends of the grass. "Good morning," said Nipper, wagging his tail and smiling broadly. "Wasn't that dreadful thing that happened to the world last night?" "Are you talking about the storm?" asked the little bird, crunching a seed in its tiny bill. "It does make it hard for me to find my food, but I managed to get enough to eat." "I don't like the snow at all," said Nipper. "It is so cold, and there is so much of it. That Jack Frost fellow should be made to behave." "Chit-chitty!" sang the little bird, looking severely at Nipper. "Chit-chitty!" it scolded under its breath. Then, flying up to a nearby bush, it called out, "We can't have warm weather all the time, you know. We just have to make the best of what we get, and there's no use of grumbling." "I am not grumbling," said Nipper, gingerly sitting down on a lump of ice. "I am just trying to do something about it." "What are you doing?" asked the little bird. "You seem very young to be running about on a day like this." "Just now," answered Nipper, "I am looking for my friend Mrs. Robin. She used to have a nest somewhere near." "Yes, she did," answered the little bird, "but you won't find her here now. She and her family went away some weeks ago." "Went away?" exclaimed the little bull pup. "Why should she go away after working so hard to build such a nice nest for her children?" "You are very stupid," said the little bird. Don't you know that a great many birds go away when the cold weather comes? They don't like the cold, and when the snow is on the ground, they can't get any worms to eat. And where do they go? Asked the little bull pup, wrinkling his face again and looking very distressed. They go south, answered the little bird, miles and miles away. But I don't have to go, it said proudly. The cold doesn't bother me, and I never eat worms anyway. Dear, dear, said the little bull pup, shaking his head sadly. Think of all those birds forced to leave their homes and go south just to get away from that Jack Frost fellow. Chit-chitty, cried the little bird, beginning to scold again. Chit-chitty, it cried, jumping about on the branch. Chit-chitty! It made such a racket and looked so cross that the little bull pup hurried off without saying goodbye.